Hello. Welcome back to Module 2, Foundations of American Governance. Today, we will go over Section 10, the right to alter or abolish a government. This is the second portion of a discussion we began back in Section 4. In this particular video, we will talk about how change is structurally made in government using the tools that are embedded in law, and how active citizens can likewise affect that transformation. The American Revolution saw a group of colonists abolish one system of government during an armed conflict, then adopt another. Now, we will examine how free citizens giving their consent can peacefully alter their government. The procedure of lawmaking starts with a bill, and the process can move swiftly or drag on for years. First, a sitting member of Congress introduces a bill into their respective chamber, either the House or the Senate. This will be referred to as House Bill 22. For example, or Senate Bill 49. The bill is then assigned to a relevant committee for action, then to a subcommittee for hearings, markups, and a vote to send it to the full chamber. Markups are revisions and additions to the bill. Once they have worked on the bill, this version is reported by the full committee. The bill is scheduled for floor action in the chamber where it was first introduced. There, the full House or Senate debate the merits of the bill, consider amendments, and vote on an approved version. If the bill passes, it is sent to the other chamber, and the process is repeated. Committee review, floor debate, and vote. If there are differences, a conference committee of representatives and senators meet to resolve them. In the final passage, both the House and Senate must pass the same version of the bill. The final bill is sent to the President for consideration. The President will either approve the bill and sign it into law or refuse to approve. This is called a veto. We already covered vetoes in Section 7 when discussing auxiliary precautions. Head there for more details for the rest of the veto process. Each chamber of Congress have their own internal rules and procedures for working on bills, such as signing them to committees, whether they are designed to raise revenue, and how to move bills that are stalled in committee. But what we have seen here is the most basic process. Amendments to the Constitution are another way to effect change. On the subject of amendments, Gouverneur Morris wrote that nothing human can be perfect. Surrounded by difficulties, we did the best we could, leaving it with those who should come after us to take counsel from experience and exercise prudently the power of amendment, which we had provided. Amendments require a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress followed by 3/4 of the state legislatures approving the amendment. This is a difficult process and has only been achieved 27 times. Including the first 10 that were ratified at the same time in 1791. Two of the amendments, the 18th and the 21st, offset each other while the country was tolerating, then rejecting prohibition. 7 expanded the guarantee of civil rights, while 2 involved the powers of the federal government. The 27th Amendment, proposed in 1789, actually waited over 200 years before being ratified. Of the 27, only 5 amendments have structurally changed the government. Given the public's unfavorable opinions regarding Congress, there has been a push in recent years to use Article 5 of the Constitution as a way to bypass the legislative branch and amend the Constitution. As of yet, this has not been successful. The framers did not intend for a regular use of amendments, as they did not want to imply the Constitution was defective or use the process to satisfy volatile popular whims. Madison warned in Federalist No. 49 that the passions, not the reason, of the public would sit in judgment if the government resorted to a frequent amendment process. Instead, amendments were to be reserved for certain great and extraordinary occasions. Judicial review is the right of federal courts to declare laws passed by Congress or acts of the executive branch to be unconstitutional. This means they are in conflict with the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, and are, thus, unenforceable and void. Judicial review is the federal judiciary's main tool for ensuring checks and balances. In fact, more than 480 federal and state laws have been held to be unconstitutional since 1798. The framers envisioned a judiciary that would interpret and apply the law in cases that were before judges. Hamilton argued that the judicial branch has no direction either of the strength or of the wealth of the society, and can take no active resolution whatever. It may truly be said to have neither force nor will, but merely judgment. This view that judges would clarify the law and not make policy, which is the prescribed role of the Congress, made the idea of judicial review easy to justify. Being an active citizen allows you to have a voice in your government's decisions. Touring the United States in 1830 and 1831, Alexis de Tocqueville observed that our true power as a society come from voluntary associations. He warned of an innumerable crowd of like and equal men who revolve on themselves without repose, procuring the small and vulgar pleasures with which they fill their souls. Each of them, withdrawn and apart, is like a stranger to the destiny of all the others. His children and his particular friends form the whole human species for him. As for dwelling with his fellow citizens, he is beside them, but he does not see them. He touches them, but he does not feel them. He exists only in himself and for himself alone, and if family still remains for him, one can at least say that he no longer has a native country. He made this observation in the mid-19th century, but could have easily said it in the present to a people obsessed with their smartphones and streaming media. To be an involved participant, you need to understand the ways your local and national government work. This civic literacy series is a good start. If you are from somewhere other than the United States, you are strongly encouraged to familiarize yourself with the government systems of your home and get involved. To be involved in your community, you need to understand the issues that affect conditions. You participate in civic life. You respectfully voice your concerns in a time and setting that is appropriate, and choose representatives that align with your values and principles. Tocqueville warned of a nation being nothing more than a herd of timid and industrious animals of which the government is the shepherd. One basic way to be active is to vote in elections. By voting, you can help to determine the leaders who affect and implement economic, social, and foreign policies. You can help to decide issues such as school funding, road and bridge projects, law and order, local ordinances, and public services like busing. In a draft of a speech dated December 1857, Abraham Lincoln said, "To give the victory to the right, not bloody bullets, but peaceful ballots only, are necessary. Thanks to our good old Constitution and organization under it, these alone are necessary. It only needs that every right-thinking man shall go to the polls, and without fear or prejudice, vote as he thinks." Elections have the potential to hold elected officials accountable for their performance by removing them and voting in another. Election victories are becoming much more narrow. Your decision to vote could sway an election. Government runs on tax dollars, and, by voting, you can help to decide how Congress and the state legislatures, county commissions, and town councils where you live spend your hard-earned money. As an example, let's talk about an election that still influences us today. In 1800, the country saw the Democratic-Republican Party become a mainstream political party with the election of Thomas Jefferson to the presidency. Indeed, this election spelled the end for the Federalist Party. The remarkable aspect of the election is the peaceful transition of power from one faction to another according to the vote of the governed. As already noted, the leaders of the revolution broke into opposing factions after the war. The men who had turned on each other and had worked every kind of political mischief on one another still remained true to the ideals to which they had pledged their lives. 20 years later, Jefferson would assert the election was as real a revolution in the principles of our government as that of 1776 was in its form, not affected by the sword, as that, but by the rational and peaceful instruments of reform, the suffrage of the people. The principles written into the Declaration of Independence had been given practical form in the Constitution. This structure allowed them to cooperate in a sustainable government that operated by ongoing consent. As we discussed in Section 1, Aristotle believed that every entity has a final cause, in other words, an ultimate purpose. The final cause of a monarchy, for instance, is to benefit the eldest son of the most powerful family. For the United States, the final cause is the flourishing of human beings through ordered liberty, equality, and governance dedicated to the common good. The preamble to the Constitution articulates this purpose: to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We will get into the particular details of how this is accomplished in the next module. Next time, this brings Module 2 to a close. In the next video, we'll begin Module 3, Foundational Documents in American Democracy. Until then, thank you for your time. If you want to learn more about the subjects we have discussed, here are the sources used for this section.